Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode, on the Destroy the Stumps podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Hope you're all doing well wherever you are in the world. Do like, share, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Destroy the Stumps 35 official YouTube channel. Also follow us on Instagram at Destroy the Stumps 35, also known as Stumps Flying. Follow us on Instagram, and you can follow the podcast via Podbean, iHeartRadio, Deezer, Spotify, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, Amazon Music, TuneIn, you name it, pretty much on every platform now. So yeah, just check us out when you can. Today we're at the lovely Bradman Oval. Bradman Museum unfortunately is closed because it is Good Friday in Australia. So public holiday here. Unfortunately, it's closed today. Would have loved to have gone in as a cricket fan, but anyways, we're not here to talk about cricket. We're here to talk about rugby league.
Yes, sir.
Well. Just going to do a review of that last round, and maybe just like a bit of a brief touch up on the how the teams are going this year. So yeah, it's just how many rounds now have we been? Round 6.
So we're in round 7 right now. So yeah, we've been
starting
6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 rounds already. Middle of April at the moment. The next couple of months, next 2 to 3 months, will really decide the future of the teams, and see how teams will see which teams are most likely of qualifying for the playoffs in this 2 to 3 month period, especially with the Origin period and the players being absent for Origin duties or whatever. Also, this time of the year, don't hope it happens to any team, but it is very likely that players will be out injured for certain periods of times. So yeah, teams have to really prepare well. Your bench strength, your depth will be tested in this period. Very important period of time for a lot of clubs. And right now, well, on top at the moment, it's the Bulldogs, and they haven't lost a game. They did get a bye as well. And the team that's at the bottom, I think, who is it? Parramatta?
Right now, it is still Parramatta, yeah.
Yeah, Parramatta, even though they won their first game last week, are still at the bottom. Yeah, 2 very contrasting seasons for both teams so far. But yeah, we're just going to review that first game. What was that first game?
Last round?
Yeah, last round.
So
sorry, by the way, I forgot to introduce. You guys should know this guy. He's been on a few podcasts. My mate Vijay plays Oztag. For which team do you play Oztag for, mate?
It's a team called Cubby's Kids.
Cubby's Kids.
Yeah.
Right. And I think he's represented the Sri Lankan or the Tamil.
Couple years ago,
he represented the Sri Lankan Australian Oztag team. So yeah, he plays a lot of Oztag.
Yeah.
And goes
big Manly fan.
Big Manly fan as well.
Yeah,
very interesting season so far for Manly.
It is.
But yeah, we'll get on to Manly in a bit. But I'll just review the last round, round 6. The first game, well, who played that?
Dolphins beating Penrith. Big
win for Dolphins. I think it's the first time the Dolphins have ever beaten Penrith ever.
Yeah, true.
Ever. So yeah, 3 years Dolphins have this is their 3rd year as a club. Just tells you, Dolphins, they've been a bit patchy. Didn't win they lost their first few games, and then they've had a couple of wins back to back.
They've won their last 2.
Yeah. So bit of a mixed bag with the Dolphins, but
I think we're going to be saying that for most teams when we talk about them today. It's been a very open season, and
exactly
a lot of teams that have been just very inconsistent, but good in patches, bad in other patches. That's been the story of this season, except for maybe the Storm and the Dogs. But yeah, Dolphins started off the season really badly, and
3 losses in a row.
Yeah, and now they beat Penrith last week, and then they beat Titans. Yeah, they put a score on the Titans at Gold Coast as well.
That helps with the points differential as well, because the Dolphins' points differential would have been impacted with those 3 losses at the start. So
I think last week Hammer had an absolute blind over game. He was the main factor in that W. He was everywhere.
Hardworking, just running meters, speed.
And they really targeted that right side of Penrith with Tungo.
Yeah, Tungo's not having a good season. He's been exposed a bit. He's been having a tough season.
Tungo and Casey McLean were real obvious targets for that Dolphins side. They threw a lot of traffic there. Had a lot of one-on-one ball with Farnworth and his opposing centre. But yeah, it was an orchestrated plan by the Dolphins, and they pulled it off really well.
Yeah, Penrith just too many errors. I don't know. It's just and the depth is actually getting tested this year. People are talking about Jerome Luai leaving to the Tigers because of money. and Penrith wouldn't be impacted by his absence. So far,
It's looking like it's having a huge impact, right?
It's having a huge impact, and he's having a big impact on the Tigers. We'll get to them in a bit.
Yeah.
But
you can't also underestimate the loss of Fisher Harris.
Harris, a big leader in the pack. He's had a bit of an impact on the Warriors as well.
I feel like Leota's form has quite, corresponded with the loss of Fisher Harris.
He used to work as the Bash Brothers, and
hasn't been as like dominant and as as intimidating as previous years.
Yeah, a few injury concerns for the Panthers as well. Tyro's out, big loss there for a couple games. Cleary missed a few games. He's not at his best at all. It's just been a bit of a weird season.
Mitch Kenny was out for a bit as well.
Yeah, Mitch Kenny. It's just been a bit of a...
Penrith's attack just do not look anywhere near as organised and as structured as it
was in the past. No.
And look, we don't want to bash Penrith this whole time. They're a championship proven side, and they've shown
4 times in a row. It's just something else.
Yeah, and they've shown in the last years they're able to manage and adapt to losing key players. Obviously, this one seems to be having a larger impact, but it's a long season, and this season we've seen in six weeks that's wide open. It's fair. Besides Melbourne right now, and you can argue the Dogs, it's wide open, so you don't want to count out Penrith this early.
Yeah, we're not going to count them out, but definitely, it's just a very challenging start.
Alarming signs right now.
Not good signs at all, but things can change. It's still very early in the season to count Penrith out or any team out fully out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Para, but not being mean, but maybe Para, because Para I reckon will be rebuilding for a bit.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Para last and Penrith are second last, but we don't want to count out Penrith.
Yes.
So that shows the disparity.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you never know with Parrots. They're getting Mitchell Moses back this week, so
that could make a difference.
Yeah.
They're a different team with Moses and without Moses. So yeah, and
go next game.
Yeah, and just so good performance from the Dolphins, and Penrith a lot of work to do. It's going to be a very challenging season. Might be the most challenging season for Ivan Cleary as a Penrith coach in a while.
And I think they'll like this. I think they'll try and find some value out of having a season like this where, just they don't have the same players they used to cover for injuries and depth, and so they're really got to work through this structure of bringing in these new players, these really green players, and have them adapt to that defensive structure and that mold of the Panthers of the last 4 years.
Absolutely. If any team can bounce back, it is Penrith. It's not over till it's over.
Yeah.
Dolphins just want to look to build on this momentum that they've got going. So have to wait and see what they do. Yeah. On to the next game. What happened in the next game?
So it was Dragons beating the Titans.
Dragons. I think it's their second win of the season after beating. This was their second reason.
That was the second win. They just got their third yesterday.
Yeah, they got their third yesterday. Yeah. They also had a very bad start to the season. First couple of games, losing a couple of games.
Yeah.
They did lose to Para, their first team to lose to Parramatta this season. They had a bit of a bogey side, Parramatta, for the Dragons for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. They just seem to struggle against Para for some reason. But that game could have gone either way. Unfortunately, it didn't go the Dragons' way. But a good win to bounce back, get their campaign a little bit back on track now.
Yeah.
Titans not so great. They have lost Kinney for pretty much this season. That's a big loss. He's a superstar in the making. Titans, the defense is same defensive issues as last year, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a very similar consensus with the Titans of the last year, where their attack looks supreme at times. And their defense just it's not as good as their attack, and that's what they're struggling with. I mean, the attacking strike weapons they have, Jaden Campbell, Brimson, Fafita, Tino, they're really good
Kinney
players.
was in a team.
Kinney, of course, and when they attack and they're on, they can score points in bunches, but their defense is just not up to it yet, especially against the top of teams.
Yeah, and Dragons. Maybe they're building something with the win, and then just getting the win yesterday over Manly was big for them.
Yeah.
So getting a couple of wins there, trying to get their campaign back on track. Still a lot of work to do at the Dragons. They've got a lot of players that were at their peak, awesome players, but they're probably in their the latter stages of their career right now. But have to wait and see what goes on with the Dragons. It's going to be an interesting season for them.
Yeah, I think the Dragons Dragons have a really big side. Like, they got really big players. Like their outside backs, Suli, Tuipulotu, Max Feeney. They're all bigger players, and their edge back rowers, their middles. They got a really big team, so they can get through the middle, and they know how to make yards. They know how to make meters. But their halves, Lachlan Ilias and Flanagan, they're not your most creative halves. They're not your most dynamic halves. So they have a big job for the whole season to try and work on the momentum of their forwards and their middles, getting those meters and setting that platform. And
definitely, yeah.
So there's a lot of work to do for those two, and a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
A lot of pressure on Elias as well, because
Yeah.
there's just like a noise. I'm not sure if it's 100% genuine, on if it's just rumours, but a bit of talk about maybe his career being on the line. Some circles, if he doesn't perform in the next couple of games.
Yeah, it's been a tough 18 months for him. I mean, from being at the Rapidos, being like
Getting dropped from the Rapidos and then getting injured in New South
breaking
Wales
his
Cup,
leg,
and
so
then
it's been a lot for him. But I actually hope he gets it all back on track.
yeah, don't wish that on any player.
Yeah.
Hopefully it works out for them. Hopefully for the Dragons, their fans thinks they can keep getting these wins.
Yeah.
As long as you get the wins, I guess that's what matters. The points accumulate, and then you put yourself in a good situation.
Yeah.
For the back end of the season. But bit of a up and down start. It looks like they're slowly building towards something good in the middle part of the season. But still early days for the Dragons. Still early days for everybody, really.
Exactly.
But yeah, Titans, a lot of work to do
Yeah.
coming up for them. And just on to the next game. This was a bit of a surprise result.
Yeah.
Second surprise result for the Roosters this year after beating Penrith early in the season.
Yeah.
At Combank, that was a high-scoring thriller, that one. And then now they beat the Broncos at a genuine premiership contenders this year, the Broncos, so far from what I've seen. But they beat the Broncos at Suncorp. Very good. Broncos just under pressure, just couldn't deal with the Roosters' attack. Roosters were just really on. One of their better performances this season.
Yeah, I mean, with the Broncos, I talk about them a lot, especially on these podcasts. Like, besides Manly, I love talking about the Broncos because they have a really similar side to Manly, to a point where they're really good in attack, and they've got all these strike, flair players that have the potential to turn that side into a premiership contending side. But this kind of inconsistency that they've had, especially in the last 2 years after losing that grand final, it's not good, because they have the caliber of players to contend with Melbourne and with Penrith again last year. But they just can't seem to string on consistency. And I'll be honest, like, losing to Roosters was disappointing. They could have lost to the Tigers the week before if the Tigers didn't have Luai suspended.
Even Tigers were giving him a bit of a run for the money.
Yeah, Tigers were decent in that game, and so I don't know. I feel like Broncos really, like, Michael Maguire's in the new coach here, and seems to have started off with the right impression and is bringing a good, strong culture with the Broncos. But they do still seem like the same side as last year, where they just can't string consistency throughout the season. And they got a great team, man. They got such good players. I think Walsh is in a bit of a slump.
Yeah, he's not at his best at all.
Yeah, look, when he's on, he's one of my favourite ever players to watch. He's so good to watch. But the thing with him is he just plays at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So some of his decision making is really off. Or
he tries to be too extravagant when he doesn't really need to be.
He's really frantic when he plays, and that sometimes does not work in first grade. Like, obviously, there's this whole notion of eyes up footy, play eyes up footy, and Walsh does that. But there's times where it'll come with experience.
You got to do the simple stuff.
You got to do the simple stuff right. You got to be patient with the game, and decision making. It's cost him. It's been costly for him.
Yeah, and there's even talk like potentially Ponga would be preferred over Walsh for Origin. Still early days, but
I'd definitely go Ponga over Walsh right now.
Yeah. Ponga's definitely.
Ponga's a star, man. Ponga's probably one of the best players in the world right now. But
yeah, like, so Reece Walsh's Origin spot. If he doesn't improve, then it's under contention. It's under scrutiny. But still early days. Origin's a month and a half away, so a month away actually.
But for the Roosters, that was a great win.
Good win. They needed that. They needed to get back on track. They had a few games where they just were a bit disappointing.
Yeah. Look, they're in a weird period, the Roosters. Obviously, everyone's looking at it as more of a rebuild season for them.
Yeah.
But if they can, get the foundations of what they can build on for next year and the coming years, and they'll get Sam Walker near the end of the season as well. Like, I don't, they could be in contention for the 8 or just thereabouts, but I don't think they will. But if they can set those foundations, especially with their young forwards, Nafua White, Sia Wong, who's been playing good.
Nafua White's been excellent this year.
Yeah, he's been really good.
Yeah.
So if they can set the foundation there, it was good to see Billy Smith back as well, playing really good football.
Hugo Sabala, a bit of a noise about him.
Yeah.
He's been all right.
So there's foundations there for him. And we know they're getting Robson next year. On the hunt for DCE as well, or Galvin, one of them. So if pieces fall, they could be a serious contender next year. But it's about building the foundations for this year. Yeah.
I think they're in a rebuild.
I'd say this
some clubs I reckon are in a bit of a rebuild. Roosters probably one of them.
Yeah.
But
it'll be a short rebuild. They'll be back next year, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, such a big club with such history. You don't think the rebuild would be there for that long, would you?
Exactly.
Just on to also so the next game, Sharks and Manly. This match was played at Perth, so one of the few games they're going to play at Perth to promote the game over there. Other side of the country, a bit of a time difference with the eastern states. Adjusting to that time difference and all that, and generally it's a bit warmer that part of the country. Manly got blown away by the Storm the previous week prior to that game, and this game, I mean, they were in contention, but just missing. I don't know what's going on with them. It's just errors, a lot of errors with Manly in recent games.
I think with last week's game, especially, we should have won that because we had so much territory, so much ball, especially in that first half, but we just couldn't convert it to points. And obviously with that Turbo, that main attacking piece, you will struggle. Any team would struggle with their number one player out, right?
Yeah.
But with us, we've shown that we've got the depth to cover him now with Leo Hopewadi. And we still have strike pieces across the field. Amole, Garrick, Tolukola. We got all these players, but it's just, we were inside the 20 so many times and we just looked so flat. We looked like we were not scoring at all. And Sharks did a really good job of holding us and playing patient. And once they got their opportunities, they converted it with ease. And that was the story of the game. And we tried to make a little late comeback.
But it's too late by then.
It was too late by then. Got some lucky intercept tries. So yeah, it's just we did put 40 points on the Raiders without Turbo, and I saw that and I was like, okay, it looks like we still have points in us even without Tom. But these last 2 weeks, especially yesterday with the Dragons, it looks like attack has been so horrible without Tom.
And also, just yesterday's game, the errors they made.
It's so
very frustrating.
Yeah,
I could see Seabold was getting frustrated, rightfully so. It was just, he had the opportunities, you just got to seize them.
It was so reserve grade type errors, man. It was so yuck to watch, so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, 3 losses in a row now for Manly, so
passes going wayward, hands, stupid offloads. It was really frustrating to watch, and we just gotta wait until Tom comes and hopes this kind of magically fixes itself, because
or get a couple of wins, even if it's scrappy, just get some wins before.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yesterday we had to win, especially at home. We've had our first 7 rounds. We've had 5 games at home, and we've only
won 3, lost 2.
Yeah, we've lost 4 now.
Won 3 at home, lost 2.
Oh yeah. So it's just really not good signs.
Yeah, it was looking good a couple of weeks ago before that Storm game, to be honest.
Yeah, it definitely was. Look, same thing with, like I said, with Penrith, still early season, sorry. So there's a lot of
time to recuperate.
But at the current moment, especially after all this DCE scandal and how it's kind of like
affecting the team,
affecting the club, it will be interesting to see how the club recuperates from this. And in every game, we're just averaging 1 or 2 injuries or suspensions, so that doesn't help as well. So
yeah,
a lot of depth issues that need to be corrected.
Yeah, look, Manly is such a proud club, a lot of history. They've got the talent to overcome this adversity. It's just, I reckon if they can get 1 win, maybe things might just they can build on that momentum. But still early days in the season for Manly. There are some good signs, but there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
But yeah, just can't fault them at the moment. But I have a few teams that are like that at the moment. But yeah, disappointing loss for Manly. Could have gone either way. If they got the win, even if it was by 2 points, would have helped them, but not to be, unfortunately. And 3 losses now with last night's loss in a row. A lot of work to be done heading into the next couple of weeks. So yeah, a couple of big weeks coming up, like I mentioned, a couple of big months. So yep, a lot of things to look forward to for Manly to have to really get a win as soon as possible and then get back on track.
Yeah, we got Penrith next week and then we got a bye. So if we can get those 2 points against Penrith while they're struggling, it'd be huge. But don't know what Penrith is going to show up. But yeah, I still have faith for the season. DC's last season as well, so got to do it. I don't know, like he's been in a bit of a form slump as well, but yeah, we'll see. Players will come back and we'll hope this kind of works out. So
yeah, absolutely. But then on to the next game that happened that day. What was that one?
We had I think Rabbitohs Cowboys at Perth as well.
And the Cowboys won that, or the Rabbitohs?
Yeah,
won
that was the Cowboys winning that.
Yeah, Cowboys, another team that had a bit of a shaky start to the season. They were very disappointing. Got absolutely hammered by your boys at Brookie.
Yeah.
They lost 2 other games after that. Then they got a couple of wins together.
Yeah, they're 3 on the trot now. They're going for their 4th this week.
Yeah, so kind of like the Dragons, started very shakily, but got a couple of wins back to back. Just building on some momentum,
Sorry, I was wrong. They got a bye this week, so they're pretty much on like a
8 points.
8 points, yeah.
Yeah, so very handy to get a couple of wins before the bye. Put yourself in a good position and build up for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But for the Cowboys, just reviewing that game. Raiders.
Rabbitohs, yeah.
Yeah, Raiders. Sorry, was it Raiders? Cowboys.
It's Cowboys, Rabbitohs.
Cowboys, Rabbitohs. Yeah, Rabbitohs. I do see them as a dark horse, but yeah, just losing a few games here to the Sharks and then losing. They were very disappointing against the Sharks.
Yeah.
In Shark Park, but not a. They would have loved to have got the win, but not to be. They are battling a few injury issues, but it's a win for the Cowboys. Very important win for them heading into the bye, like I mentioned. Just something that they can build on.
I think Rabbitohs are still in a good spot. They're losing troops. They're still getting some troops back. Obviously, Jamie Humphrey's gone for a couple more weeks, so Troll's fitting in the halves, but they're getting Cameron Graham back, Monroe, AJ. Players are coming back, Aiken as well. So that's obviously a good sign, and you'd hope they don't suffer through many injuries. But yeah, this Wayne Bennett effect on certain clubs, it's just like they look the goods at times. Like they got great attack. The defenses are getting solid, and the playmakers are doing well. Cody Walker, Humphreys, Jai Gray.
Jai Gray's been really good.
Mamazulis has been solid. Like there's some really, really underrated players in this club that are getting them the wins, and so they'll continue. And I reckon they're a very good shot today.
I reckon they can bounce back. Yeah, I reckon they can bounce back after this loss for sure.
Yeah, of course.
They're definitely a lot more solid than last year.
Yeah,
definitely better signs than last year for the Rabbitohs. But yeah, two teams that are just on different trajectories at the moment, but plenty of promise with both teams. A lot can happen with them.
Exactly.
Just trying to find their feet early on in the season. And on to the next game.
That was the Raiders putting 50 on the Eels.
Raiders, and that was at that wasn't in Canberra.
Yeah, that was at Combank. Oh, sorry, no, that was in Darwin. Sorry.
Darwin, Darwin. Yeah. Oof, tropical hot heat over there in Darwin.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy.
The Eels take a game to the
second game this year that Parramatta have conceded 50. First game of the year that they played was against
Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne. They got 50 put on them. Oh, that's Bella. Looks like her, hey?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, just got distracted there. Reminds me of my own dog, Bella. Very cute. Toy poodle. Yeah, so Para are clearly in a rebuilding phase. They're trying to, there's a lot of off-field stuff going on at Para as well with the Dylan Brown thing. A lot of fans are not happy with him. He signed a big contract with the Knights. I don't know if he's worth that much, but maybe he might prove us wrong. But
I think Dylan Brown won that deal. I think it's more on Newcastle for spending that much.
I don't blame him. It's really
I mean,
Newcastle for being a bit silly.
Exactly. You take that money no matter what kind of player you are. But
Yeah.
Newcastle spending that much money on a guy who's never proved himself at 7. It's a bit weird, and he's not in like the greatest form. So
His mindset's all over the place as well. He's just goodness knows where he is at the moment. Maybe he might find his feet, but at the moment, definitely not.
He's been in an okay form in the last 2 weeks for Para. Seems to be responding a bit better to criticism, but and he gets his counterpart in Mitchell Moses back this week.
That's huge.
So he was. They're so obviously in a rebuild phase, and they have been since losing their grand final as well in 2022. But Riles has a big job ahead of him. A lot of
first role for Riles as a head coach as well. He's not an assistant coach, so this is going to be a huge learning curve for him in his coaching career.
A lot of changes that he needs to do with the pack. I think the forward pack. I think
some of them are just past their prime.
Yeah, he's got some decent players in his backs. No, Iongi has been struggling, but they got Josh Papali over there in the ranks as well, waiting for a spot. So they got some decent.
Josh
talent.
Papali's in heels.
Josh Papali, this other guy. It's spelled Joash Papali. His son, he's a fullback. So
Josh Papali.
Yeah, Joash Papali, or however
Joash.
he said. Apparently he's a talent as well, and he's waiting on the wings for a spot as well. So they got some talent in the backs. It's just about getting them in the same structure and working on their forward pack.
Yeah, exactly. Just a lot of work to be done for Parra. It's going to be a tough season, I reckon. I think they're the only team for me that just don't look like they're going to really make it to the finals, the playoffs at the moment. I don't think so. Look, sorry, Kaj, I know you want to be hopeful. And look, it's understandable. You got to kind of back your team, but it just doesn't look like it, unfortunately. It's going to be a rebuilding season for them, and maybe they can build something for next season. And maybe next season might be really good, but this season it's going to really take a lot. And also just with that fact as well, a team that concedes 50 points or more in a game, they don't tend to win they don't go on to win the Premiership. So
history's shown no team has done that
ever. So and also Paramount have conceded 50 points twice already. It's only we're only into round 7, so it doesn't look like it's going to be a really good season at all for Parramatta. Possible clean out at the end of the season as well. I reckon there could be a clean out at the end of the season as well. Definitely. But a lot of work to be done at Parra. Raiders, good to get back to winning ways as well for them, and also they've been good in patches. Jamal Fogarty's having a good season.
Yeah, Tarpany's having an amazing season.
Tamale's been very impressive.
Yeah.
And Corey Hosborough.
Yeah.
He's having a really good season. A lot of talk about him potentially getting into the Queensland squad if he maintains this type of form.
Sure,
so
No, the Raiders they've got a really elite forward pack. I'd say like a top 4 forward pack, and they've got a lot of youngsters in their backs, and this combination of having Fogarty kind of lead these youngsters around, it's really good for them, and they're bearing the fruits of their success, and they look good. I'd say they're a dark horse as well, and Ricky's got them firing, but they have had certain games where they've just lost it out a bit, especially I think they had back-to-back losses against us, and then I think it was the Cowboys the week after without Tapane, or they had Tapane. But I think they'll be in a decent spot.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely looking like one of the dark horses along with the Rabbitohs for me early on in the season. Then on to the next game. Well, this game, Amy Park, Melbourne Storm versus the New Zealand Warriors. Warriors coming off the bye. Storm, that ruthless edge in that Melbourne Storm team. They showed it in the first game of the season against a pretty disappointing Parasite.
Yeah.
They showed it in the week prior at Brookvale Oval in front against Manly.
Yeah.
Really hyped clash that one with the Battle of Brookie. That happened a couple of years ago, like more than a decade ago, with Glenn Stewart and Adam Blair having a biff, and then everybody just joining in, and it just went on and on. But they had that ruthless period after the second half in that game where they just scored consistently. And this game as well, they just came out of the blocks against the Warriors. First half this time around, not the second half like they did against Manly.
Yeah.
First half, they were just ruthless, absolutely ruthless. Everybody was just doing their thing.
They made the blocks so strong,
yeah, the Warriors were just never going to come back in that game. Yeah, they did better in the second half, the Warriors, but man, you just can't do anything with the Storm. I was worried that the Warriors were going to concede 50 points.
Yeah.
It was looking like that. The way the Storm were scoring points, it looked like they were going to put maybe 60 points.
Exactly.
They were absolutely ruthless. For me, even though the Storm have lost one game, they've lost a game to the Dragons in a bit of a surprise result. Cogra, I think it was at Cogra that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't at their best there, but they didn't lose by much that game. But the thing is with the Storm, sorry man,
go.
The Storm is just, they have that ruthless edge where they can just destroy you in a couple of good plays and that's it. You're behind the 8 ball. They're just that dangerous. They've got that seriously dangerous, like that mean streak to them. Yes, the Bulldogs are undefeated at the moment. They've got some good wins. They're looking good. They're building well, but I don't think the Bulldogs have the ruthless streak like this Melbourne Storm team does.
Yeah,
it's a very scary. They're very intimidating.
Yeah.
It's very tough to come up against. You think you're in the game with this Melbourne team, and then bang, a couple good 10-20 minute plays, passage of play, and that's it. You're way behind the game.
Yeah, I think Melbourne are going to do this a lot to a lot of teams, especially teams that are going to be the fringe 8 or like bottom 12 teams. I think they're just going to do a lot of this. If they're in the mood, they're just going to pour points on and then, kind of sit back a little bit, maybe take some players off, rest some players. I think this is going to be a weekly occurrence nearly, especially in this current climate of the season where it's very wide open and a lot of teams being inconsistent. I think Melbourne being that benchmark team and so far ahead of the other clubs, they will be doing this a lot. So yeah, watch this space. But Melbourne are going to be very hard to beat this year.
Grant Anderson's having a good season. Even the other guys, Jack Howard, he was great last year.
Yeah.
He's been good this year.
Yeah.
Jerome Hughes is having a good season. Papenhuyzen's been really good.
I think Munster's having a
good season. Yeah, even the forwards, Stefano's having a really good season.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Josh King, a lot of great players playing great footy, and they lost the grand final last year, and they're looking like a team that's
hungry to win it.
Yeah, not going to let it happen again this year.
They look like they're really hungry, and watch out, oppositions. Warriors, they started really badly against the Raiders. A couple good wins, a good win against Manly, good win against the Roosters. Very tough win against the Tigers, which was a really good game, that one, and wet conditions in Campbelltown. Then there was a bye, and then this game not so great. But especially after that first week, I thought it was going to be a really long season for the Warriors because of how disappointing they were against the Raiders in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't look too bad, and they've got some good young players coming through. Ali Latel has been superb. Chances, you feel like he's back to career best form. Yes, they don't have RTS for a couple of weeks. They don't have Dallin. They have lost James Fisher-Harris for 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, with the pack.
Yeah, that's a big loss. It's a bit strange these star signings get injured at the Warriors. It happened to Toru Harris. He never got injured at the Storm. Hardly got injured at the Storm, and he got a lot of injuries when he came over to the Warriors. But in the forwards as well, Leka Haliasima. For goodness sakes, Leka, next time you're in the clear, just plant the ball next to the post. But yeah, that was a beautiful try, that one, against the Tigers. Some good signs for the Warriors. They've got a tough game against the Broncos, who will be very eager tomorrow in Christchurch to win against the Warriors. Get their season, just get back to winning ways. They had a tough game against Melbourne, and they've got some tough games coming up. So this will be a real challenging period for the Warriors. That it'll make or break them, I reckon. They can get a couple of good wins over these tough opposition, then hey. But definitely some good signs. Much more promising start than last year for the Warriors, but a lot of work to be done. And then the last game, Tigers and Knights.
Yeah.
Knights too bad, back-to-back losses. And they didn't score any points against the Doggies. If I'm not wrong, against the Core Stadium.
Correct.
And did they score any against the Tigers? I don't think.
Yeah, they did score, but Tack's just looking really off for them.
Just I don't know what's going on with the Knights. Two bad performances back to back.
Because they got decent defense. Actually, pretty good defense actually. the defensive structures are good, and they got players that can score points. Obviously, Callum Ponga, Bradman Best, Greg Marziu, Fletcher Sharp. They're all really good players with the ball in hand, but just haven't been able to work out their attack. And I guess that's also got to do with the little merry-go-round that's going on with their halves. I mean, the last 2, even 3 years, they've just not been able to set on a halves pairing, and that's been a problem for them.
Yeah.
And there's only so much, Ponga and Fletcher Sharp and all those players could do.
Yeah, exactly.
So
they're going to be losing Leo Thompson next year as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
That's going to be a massive loss. But no, look, nice have they have a decent roster. They have a good roster, and it's just again inconsistency like other teams, and just ability to score points. I think in the Bulldogs game they had a lot of ball, and they should have put like a couple of tries on them, but they just couldn't.
No, exactly. Tigers though, wow,
Yeah.
what a big it's still early, but
Yeah.
much improved. Probably the most improved team from last year, easily.
Yeah.
Jerome Luai, Sunia Taruva making a huge impact.
Difference,
Yeah, despite the off-field drama, because before with the Tigers in previous season, you notice when there's off-field drama, it affects the team badly. Doesn't seem to be affecting him, especially with the Lachlan Galvin thing with his manager Isaac Moses.
We'll have to see this week with the game.
Yeah.
But, no, you're right. They're a team that's always in the media light, and even when they're playing good now, they seem to be the big headline for the whole week. But that's all to do with like Lachlan Galvin. So we'll see how they respond to that this week.
And I respect the fact that the senior guys stood up, and before like the Tigers used to buckle, or there'd be drama, or maybe the coach would resign or something like that would happen. But they didn't buckle down. I respect the fact Jerome Luai and even Uppy, the other senior players, because Uppy and Jerome Luai, they came from a club that had a winning culture.
Yeah, so they know
especially
what's like.
Jerome, four premierships in a row, and he won State of Origin as well. Took Samoa to the final in the Rugby League World Cup. He knows what it's like to win.
Yeah.
So they didn't stand up for it. They weren't listening. They didn't want to listen to that whatever Lachlan Galvin and whatever the other people around him had to say. They said no, the team first. They had a good press conference as well. They're backing their coach Benji Marshall, and it's great to see players backing their coach. It will make a big difference. Things like this can make or break your season and make or break your future as a club. Very good to see it. Can they back it up this week?
Yeah.
I hope they can.
Yeah.
Who do they have this week?
The Tigers, they have. I think they have. They have the Eels on Easter Monday.
Yeah, look, I'd back them to win it. They do have a bit of a weird thing with the Eels where they win sometimes and lose a lot, but I would back them to beat the Eels.
Yeah.
If they can put some good points on them.
Mitchy Mers is coming back, so it'll be an interesting game.
Yeah, it might not be the easiest game for the Tigers like it was when they played Para a couple of weeks ago at Combank. They were dominant in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's a brave move by dropping Lachlan Galvin, especially since he's been one of the form players for them so far. But
team first.
Team first. Adam Dewey slots into the halves while Lado Fano is getting healed from his hamstring concerns. So yeah, let's see how this affects them and see if they can show that they're a united side on the field. So, I mean, that's what they've been trying the last few weeks, but it's going to be interesting to see how they play on Monday.
Yeah, much improved team. They look better. It looks like the future's bright there at the Tigers. They're backing their coach, which is really good to see. When you see a lot of these player-coach frictions that have happened over the last couple of years, it's great to see some players back their coach. And look, hopefully the situation with Lachlan Galvin just disappears. I don't think he'll be staying at the Tigers too long.
Nah, no chance. Yeah, they'll simmer down, and I mean, it won't simmer down actually. It'll be the main headlines, because even when Tigers are doing good, they're gonna be front page news. But
especially Fox League.
Yeah,
far out.
I think he will leave eventually by the end of the year or before next season. But it's just a matter of how they deal with it.
But look, good signs for the Tigers. Hopefully they can overcome this little drama with Lachlan Galvin. and his manager and all that. But yeah, just wait and see. Anyways, guys, thanks for your time. Have a good night, and we'll probably review a couple of maybe matches in the future. Also with the Bulldogs. Yeah, just briefly touching the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Good start to the season.
Yeah, really good start. Very good start. I'd say, especially with the players they've lost, they've managed to win without Sharks, Knights, winning without Berto and Kicker. Very, very impressive. And you don't want to take too much of them because, you know, people are saying they haven't played any like really good teams to prove their worth. They did play the Sharks, but, you know, they're also playing what's in front of them. So if they can show results through there and show that they're a side that's hungry for a premiership, then that's all they can do. And they're looking good.
Absolutely. Anyways, guys, thanks for your time. Have a good night. And that's that. Bye for now.
See ya.